Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the 7 Days, the World Ends Review podcast. I'm your host, Avery Watkin, but you can call me Eric.
And I'm your co-host, Joshua.
Yep,
Today we are covering episode 9 of the anime, which covers week 3, days 3 and 4.
yep. Rhyme and Beat is the name of the episode. Uh, so I think we're going to do a little bit different this time around. Let's just go through the whole thing as the show had it, and then we'll talk about the game.
Okay.
Because this episode was the first episode that legitimately tripped me up on like if I was misremembering the game or not. So, um, yeah, this episode was just weird from off the bat for me because I literally misremembered how the order of events went, and I was like, I thought this whole little mini adventure was the span of 3 days, 3, 4, and 5, and then I had to replay the game, and I was like, okay, no, this actually did get it correct. It is just days 3 and 4, and
Got it.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, that there is definitely one thing that's weird this episode.
I would say there's more than one.
No. I just mean by there's one thing in particular that they've just refused to change and then yet suddenly decided to change this episode.
Wait, what are you referring?
The spawn.
Oh, the spawn point. I forgot about that. So before the opening credits, we get what I actually talked about last episode. We get a little scene where they go back into O East and they see the choker of 777 and realize he's dead. I didn't think they were going to
Mm-hmm.
do it. That's how they did it in the game. So, Then we
Yeah.
get the opening, and then we get the change of the spawn point for the first time in the entire show, it feels like. And I don't understand why now of all times they're like, yeah, let's just change the spawn point.
And this is probably going to be the only time that they change it, and it's just going to stay at the Shibuya underpass for the rest of the time.
Oh, probably. I because the game changed it up a lot. Like I'm trying to remember. Yeah, day 2 you woke up in the Shibuya station underpass, and then day 3 you wake up in O East or A East as the game put it. So this is like just in the first 3 days you were in different spawn points every day, and here it's been Scramble
Shibuya
Crossing,
Crossing
Scramble
until
Crossing.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shibuya Scramble Crossing until now.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even like think about that, and just because like I don't know, the show's made me numb to that stuff at this point.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, they changed the spawn point for once.
Yeah, me who has played the game and has been replaying it for the show, um, I just kind of forgot that that was what they were doing. Oh my gosh. Okay. Uh, so so we get a scene where Beat explains how both him and Rhyme make it to the underground, uh, and
And that
we get the reveal of the relationship.
yeah, that they are brother and sister. And that basically rhyme not rhyme beat was like leaving, or at least trying to get away from home because of some argument with his father.
Yeah. Um, Not much to say. They kind of actually mixed 3 conversations. One of the conversations hasn't actually happened in the game yet.
Hmm.
Um, so this whole Miyashita perk scene doesn't happen until day 4, but we get the reveal of both Ryan being the noise and Ryan being Beat's sister on day 3, and then on day 4 we get the reveal of how Beat and Ryan died.
I see. So they just kind of combined it all into one, like they've been doing throughout this show.
Yeah, so they combined that all into one scene, which is fine. Uh, they also added into the scene the talk of like, yeah, Beat, you're an idiot, but I rely on you being an idiot, so keep being one.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen till later. I forget the exact day that that happens. Um, he gives him some pep talk in the game. I'm trying to remember what he said. It's been a few days since I've replayed this part. He does give him some pep talk, but it wasn't the idiot pep talk.
Yeah. Yeah, they also mention Rhyme's entry fee being that it was like the memories of Beat. But
Yeah.
it also seems like it may have been like connected to her dream in some way, I guess, because her her like what she dreamed of being like I believe Beat mentioned that Rhyme had a dream, but like she can't seem to remember it when in the underground. So I'm wondering if like those two things may have been connected.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember how the game, because in the day four conversation, he also mentions about how she had dreams. She wasn't like him, but he like goes more into detail of like, well, not like super detail, but he talks a little bit more of him not getting along with his parents, and then like he screwed up and he cost Rhyme because like he was good for nothing, but she had
Mm-hmm.
dreams. She had something to live for. Um,
Yeah.
and he talks about how a little bit about how he lied about having a dream because
Mm-hmm.
Rhyme says that like back in I guess it would be day six. I'm trying to remember how the show did it. It was about on day four of the game. Rhyme talks about how Beat has this dream of being a professional skateboarder and how she wants to find a dream like that. Um,
Yeah. I forget where it was in the anime, but it was definitely early on.
yeah,
I think it may have
Beat.
been like day I think it may have been like day four in the anime as well.
Yeah, because I split up the beginning of day four and the ending of day four into two separate days. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, Beat was lying about that. That was never really his dream. That was just something to try to cheer up Rhyme.
Hmm. I see.
No. Um,
Yeah.
but then they get going. Uh,
In search for
Konishi,
like yeah, Konishi for the day.
the Iron Maiden.
Um yeah. And so basically she not Neku and B noticed the like because they're trying to get around Shibuya without getting noticed.
Yeah, that's new to this to the show. At no point do Beat and Neku really care about being seen. At least not this early on. They're like, yeah, we should be somewhat cautious, but like we're gonna have to fight them. So like they just go where they need to go, and um, I forget. I don't know what the odds are, but like as you move between screens, there's a chance that you'll run into a Reaper, and you'll have to fight them to actually move the screen.
I see. Um but yeah, within that we get like two things. They notice that there's a lack of crowds around, so it makes it harder for them to like sneak around and whatnot.
Yeah.
But also that they can't seem to scam people with the O pins equipped.
Yeah, so that's a revelation that comes at the end of day four. Um, Again, they just moved it earlier, and they combined it with a conversation of who made the O pins.
Yeah, which
Um,
was mentioned like shortly after.
yeah, so so they try scanning people, and they realize that hey, this doesn't feel right. People feel empty, like there's nothing there to scan. And then Beat mentions that hey, this pin looks exactly like the player pins, and Cat is the one that supposedly designed the red pins. So like, who is the composer? Because composer's supposed to make the player pins. Is
Mm-hmm.
Cat the composer? Who is Cat really? And Neku knows the
Yeah,
answer.
but he seems like it can't be Cat because like what is it? I forget like exactly how it is, but it's like it just doesn't seem to align with how Hanekoma has appeared,
Well,
and also that Joshua was looking for someone else who wasn't Hanekoma as the composer.
unless Josh didn't know that Honeycomb was the composer.
yeah, I mean that's a possibility, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem in line of what we know of Hanakoma so far.
You are reading way too far into this being a JRPG. That's the problem, is that you know this is a JRPG, so you know there's going to be twists.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you're like, okay, so I could take it at its face value, or I can realize that Tachiya Nomura made this. And so whatever he's telling me is true, it's not true. Nobody's have hurts.
Yeah. But and I mean it like even goes to like something that we see later in the episode that we'll get back to. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
have some words about that scene.
I just the I just feel like the composer had to get a hold of those pins somehow, and I don't think it was like because Hanekoma is the composer.
Okay. Do you think Hanekoma has any ties? Because there is a resemblance, and the composer is the one in charge of player pins.
I'm not saying that there is no connection. I do think there has to be at least some sort of connection in order for the composer to get his hands on the badges designed by Hanekoma, but I don't think it's
So,
Hanekoma himself.
okay, but then if Hanekoma is not the composer himself, but has a connection to the composer, why wouldn't he tell Josh? Or why would he help Josh find his friend?
I don't know.
Yeah. Like that's the thing. Is like if you even if you don't believe that Hanekoma is the composer, you do have to believe that he has some connection with the composer. And again, you get to the same problem of why would he help Josh, or why would he not just tell Josh?
Yeah.
So that's the thing, is that at this point, it's hard to tell where it's leading, because he has no reason either way, but you know that he has some connection there.
Yeah.
So, um, but yeah, like that's pretty much my thoughts. Of course, like, well, I guess here's a question for you: do you think by the end of the game we'll get this answer?
The answer of who the composer is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure because I'm pretty sure that the composer is the final boss. But
Okay.
how it gets to that point, I have no clue.
So then the question is, if you do not believe that Hanekoma is the composer, do you think we will learn what Hanekoma is, or like what his role is in all of this?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll figure it out, and I'm sure I'll have play like a pivotal role into who the composer is.
And my thing is, I don't know how much of the show is going to change, what they're going to show and not show. So I'm like, I literally, I honestly don't know if we're going to learn this in the show. So I'm going to be with you guys on this one of like, oh, I'm surprised this is what the show is actually doing. It's going
Hmm.
weird places. Um,
Yeah.
then we get a short scene which was added. This is not from the game at all, but Uzuki and Kariya are like eating and chatting about the stress of work.
Hmm. I see. So that part where like basically Uzuki's complaining a bit about their special mission.
Yeah. Like I'm sure like a couple of the lines of dialogue probably were said. I don't have the whole thing memorized, but verbatim. But like this whole scene was kind of added, and it didn't really have anything of substance by itself.
Hmm.
So it's like I don't know what to say about it. I'm sure she probably did say like, "Oh, this is stressful," but like, and
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just to give at least like a little bit more characterization to them just before the end of this episode.
yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Then we.
So
Oh, do you want to lead it? Okay.
yeah, I was gonna and so then we go to I forget if it's I forget exactly where the location is, but they come across a crowd who has noise around them because they all want
The red
like the
scorpions.
the opens basically, and
We get
and
Eri
so
again.
what?
We run into Eri again.
Yeah, I was about to get to that. Basically, Beat and Neku see Eri in there, and thus they defeat the noise.
Um, again, that was added. We do not see Eri after day 6. We only ever see her on day 6 of the first week.
Wow, they gave her more characterization in this show than they have in the entire game. It seems.
Pretty much. um, this one, I wish they did more with, because I thought the scene in the flower shop was actually really cool. And here it's like she was just there, and Neku just kind of gives her like a look without saying anything, and then that's it. Like, oh, it would have been nice if there was another powwow for Neku.
Yeah, or at least I wish like I don't know if like this matches up with the game or not, like if it's possible in the game or not, but like if people don't have those O pins equipped that they're still able to be scanned.
Uh, I, yes. So the scanning works is there's a pin on the bottom right corner. You hit that, and it opens up a field. And all people that are not players or reapers have a little like diamond, and some of them have like a text bubble instead of a diamond. And so you can only
Mm-hmm.
like read the minds of people with the text bubbles. And they explained this. It's like if you were trying to use a radio and you were tuning into every station at once. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why they don't try to scan everybody. They only scan a few people. Um, but yeah, so when I was playing through these days, like 90% of the crowd had red diamonds instead of the typical blue diamonds. But there were still some blue diamonds, but I didn't see any text bubbles. Um, that said, I only opened the scan up in one area, and even when there's or a bunch of blue diamonds, you're not guaranteed to have the text bubbles. So I don't know. Um, at this point, not everybody has the red pin, but I have not done enough testing to, and I don't remember if you still see text bubbles or not.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that like they could have put that in that scene there, maybe just to get like not all people are unscannable, but
Yeah.
it's a small thing.
Yeah, I would have liked if he scanned her though. I thought it'd be cool. Like and like
Yeah,
see what that she's still thinking about Shiki and like wishing
yeah.
Shiki could have helped her look or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And like it would have been good in two ways and giving just a bit of reminder about Shiki, but also like letting Neku know that there's people who are still scannable,
Yeah.
or at least give a clue on why people aren't scannable.
Yeah. That would have been nice. But that's not what we get. We just get she's there. So like
Yeah,
this felt just kind of I guess it was to show Beat because Beat
yeah.
doesn't really
I
learn that. So
yeah, I mean also I mean it does give us a little bit of an insight, like that the opens are really popular and thus it's weird if you don't have one.
yeah,
But I don't think Neku and B hear that, so it's like it's good for the audience to know, but the audience can already kind of tell because literally everyone has them on them.
yeah, yeah. Um, Also during that fight scene at the like pin distribution site, we see the level 2 fusion attack. So
Okay, so that was the level 2 fusion attack.
yes, which means that the one we saw back at the O East fight, geez,
Was
was
the
the level
level
1
1.
fusion.
And so I'm
Um,
guessing that the one towards the end of this episode was the level 3.
yeah, that one was a fun one. I I did not expect to see like out of all fusion attacks, the last one I expected to see was Beats level 3 fusion. We'll get to that
Really?
more later, but
I would have thought Joshua's level 3 would have been harder to do.
I mean that's true too. but I was like, okay, when you're already fighting like an imaginary sphere, like because I knew that at the end of the week that they fight in like the imaginary number plane. So it's like, okay, I could kind of see how they pull that one off.
Hmm.
This one, I was like, oh, that's new. Um, what we call it? I guess also Shiki's because Shiki's gets weird, and we did not see her level 3 fusion.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't think we saw like anything more than maybe like Shiki's level one.
Um, oh man, it's been a while. I can't remember what her level 1 is. Well, I remember. Okay, no, I remember what it is. So there's one where she like throws Mr. Mew and he just does a bunch of scratches and then grows to a giant size and like crushes. Then there's
Hmm.
one where he grows pretty big and they both ride Mr. Mew as he like flies around like Superman hitting everyone. And then level 3 is him growing to the size of a skyscraper and shooting eye lasers.
Yeah, they didn't want to grow Mr. Mew at all in the show.
No, they did. Like there was a couple times like she threw him and like he inflated and caught Neku as Neku was falling.
Yeah,
But
but other than that,
yeah, they did not want to make him skyscraper size.
yeah, I'm like, they didn't want to have him fighting at that big.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. So this was the level 2 fusion. It was cool. I liked it. In I actually probably liked it better because in the game it's really just the chains show up and you see like a blue and a red like ball moving really fast across all the chains. And here you
Hmm.
actually see the noise chained up in this web and the lightning
Yeah,
striking it and just electrocuting all of them. I thought that was cool.
yeah, no, I thought that was pretty cool too.
Yeah. Um, I think that's pretty much it. No, right after all of that, Uzuki and
They run
Kariya
into
show up.
Kariya and Uzuki, basically saying, "We're going to give you a mission tomorrow. You better do it."
Yep. Um, and then we cut to the commercial break. Come back once again
Day
near Shibuya
four.
Park. Yep.
Yep.
Um, and immediately they get the mission, and it's come defeat us at Scramble Crossing.
Well, come defeat us in our home ground, which Beat says is Scrambled Crossing,
Yeah.
or home
Um,
turf, I should say. But yeah,
yep. They go to Scramble Crossing. Or Beat actually gives Neko a warning about Korea being really tough. And then,
yeah, which we've kind of gotten like throughout the series, just being like, you could be an officer right now, right?
yeah. Beat actually goes a step further in the game and it's like, no, just like he's only a small fry because he wants to be. He rivals like the toughest Reaper. Like, this is the best practice we could get if we want to fight the composer.
I see.
So, so like, Beat like says like this guy seconds the composer more than
Hmm.
anyone else we could fight.
Wow. But that does make kind of Konishi seem smaller in comparison.
Yeah, B makes it a big deal that like this guy's no joke. Um,
I mean, officers are pretty big deals, I think, but
yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like he talks about because even though even the officers have different power levels between them.
true. That's
Um,
true.
and he says like Korea rivals the top of the officers. Like he wouldn't even be a low level officer. He would be top dog if you chose.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, then they get there. I'm trying to remember if they say anything really before the fight.
Um, there's a little bit of dialogue during the fight. I believe there was just dialogue at the beginning of the fight that they'll get, or was that at the end of day three that they'd get Ryan back? I forget. It's like
That
one
was
of
day
the
three.
two. Day
Yeah, I
three.
think that was day three.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think they just say like, we see that you're here, and they basically just start the fight immediately. And then there's a little bit of dialogue
Yeah,
in
like
there,
if
just
you
being
only
like,
focus
"Oh,
on
you have to."
her,
Yeah, it's like if you only focus on one of us, the other one can attack.
yeah. Um, I thought this was a really cool fight scene, though. I like this.
Yeah,
This
I
might
mean
be like the
it
best
was
fight scene.
relatively short, but it was really well done.
Yeah, like just the way that they teamed up their attacks. Uh, I like Uzuki's gun. She uses that in the game, but like this
Hmm.
made it a lot more fun.
Yeah. No, the angles that they used with Uzuki's gun was really well done.
Yeah, like there was one part where Beat's going after Kariya. Kariya like blocks or deflects Beat's attack. Yuzuki comes up from behind, and you like they like show it as if like, oh, this is Beat's final moment, and then Neku comes in with the icicles and builds a wall between.
The two, yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, no, it was a very short fight scene, but a very well done fight scene.
yeah,
Better than the
and,
freaking bats from last episode.
oh yeah, and then I also thought the music it wasn't like in your face, but I thought it fit really well, and it was a good song choice.
Yeah, I didn't really notice the music, but I think that's a good thing. Like it just meant that it went really well.
Yeah. Well, that's what they always say about editing is that if you're good at editing, no one should be able to notice.
Hmm.
Like the best editors are the ones that you don't notice that they're doing it. So
Yeah,
that's
unlike
that's
that
the thing.
episode 2 fight scene.
Yeah. Um, and then we already talked about earlier. We get Beats level 3 fusion attack. Surprised they did this early on. I'm surprised they even did it at all. But we got the giant tsunami and the two of them surfing on it, and Kariya picking up Uzuki, running away while Uzuki's still firing a little pistol.
Yeah. No, but it was really cool in a way. Like, like they would try and flee from that attack, you know?
Yeah, no, it was perfect. The only thing that I'm sad about this fight was that we never see Uzuki and Kariya use a fusion attack. So in
Yeah.
the game, they actually do have a fusion attack that they can do.
Oh, wow, they do?
Yeah, it's
Huh.
not anything special. I'm trying to remember. It's pretty much like the screen, I think, like goes green and they um, just like fire projectiles.
Yeah, I mean, they had something maybe like kind of close to that sort of thing where basically after Uzuki has shot her shots into the ground, like Korea could activate them to explode, but
Yeah.
it wasn't like an exact like union attack type thing.
Yeah. Well, that's also like what's we call it? What was I gonna say? I just blanked. Okay. Uh oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. In the game, or at least in the DS game, they acted like partners. So one of them was
Mm-hmm.
on the top screen, one of them was on the bottom screen, and how in the game when you alternate your attacks, you have a green light puck that bounces between the two screens, and that's how you build up
Mm-hmm.
your fusion. They have a purple light puck that bounces between the two of them, and that's how they build their fusion.
Ah, I see.
So they act just like it's the closest thing you have to like a partner versus partner battle.
I see.
Yeah, um, I like that quite a bit in the game. In the ports of it, like the Switch port, they just both fight on Neku's screen. A little less impressive.
Yeah, that's a bit of a shame.
Yeah, that's the thing. This game was very much made for the dual screens, and so like,
Yeah.
but watch New Day online because New Day isn't that good to it isn't fun to play through to begin with, and honestly, not my favorite thing. If you're looking for a version of this game to play it on DS. It's still the best version there is.
Yeah, that's what I've heard,
Yeah.
which is kind of unfortunate, but
Well, it was designed
no,
specifically
I
for
like I get that it was designed. I'm just like it's a bit
yeah.
unfortunate that the only thing you can play it on is like a DS basically.
Yeah. So that's my thing though. Is like I don't want to get too far into the weeds, I guess, but in the if you know anything about the development of it, this was Square Enix's like first real attempt on making a DS game. So they wanted to make the most out of the two screens and make the most out of the touch screen. And everything was literally designed top to bottom of making the most out of those two features.
I see.
So like before they had an idea of anything they wanted to do, all they knew was we're using the two screens, we're using the touchscreen, go.
Mm-hmm.
And they made the entire game based off just those two mechanics.
Got it.
Um, and there's no other console that, like, I really wish that the Wii U was more popular and they made the port a little bit earlier because I thought if like the best console you could have ported that to would have been the Wii U.
Yeah, that probably would have been best. But oh well, what can you do?
Yeah. Uh,
Anyways,
yeah.
do we wanna
Let's keep going.
yeah. Um so after the fight ends, basically Kariya talks to Neku and Beat a bit about
They returned Rhyme.
yeah, which they find out is like a fake, which Kariya kind of suspected.
Yeah. Which it makes more sense in the game when you realize that it is just a pin. And Beat actually isn't even angry as soon as Kariya says that like, oh, this was a fake, we didn't know. Beat's like, yeah, that makes sense. You probably haven't even seen the real thing. It's all Konishi's fault. Like Beat pretty much forgives them. And here he's still just angry.
Just for a little bit, but
Yeah.
yeah. But we get like a bit of why Kariya stays as like just like one of the low level Shinigami or Reapers.
Yeah.
Um and
So
basically
this
it's just because
was
he loves to observe Shibuya and hang out with Uzuki.
yeah. This was split into again into like two or three separate conversations, all kind of merged into one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the first one happens at the end of day three. Uh, Yuzuki lost her little game that she was playing. Kariya shows up and says like, uh, you know, you've lost. Just give it up. And then she's like, I don't need you patronizing me. I know you could have left, but you didn't. And he explains like, I like hanging out with you, and that's why I chose to stay. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and he explains why he enjoys Shibuya. And then on the end of day four, after Korea's little game, we get like what he sees in Shibuya going on.
Yeah. And that'll be further expanded in like just a
Minute,
like
yeah.
a little bit after this. But they kind of end their conversation there with Kariya giving Neku and Beat his key pin, which has like the level of an officer, so they should be able to open a lot more walls.
Yep.
Um, and Beat finally respects them by calling them senpai, which I don't
Yeah.
know why they put as just Mr. Kariya in the sub, but it clearly says senpai.
I mean, there's no good translation to English for senpai.
No, no, I get that. I just feel like just leave it as like at least just put it as like either just in the subtitles as senpai or just put it as Kariya senpai because I'm like I mean most people probably understand what senpai is at this point, you know?
That's true, but I believe I saw somewhere that like Funimation translators want to try to get rid of as many Japanese terms in the subtitles as possible.
Yeah, no, it depends on that with both Funimation and Crunchyroll because both like some try to get rid of that as much as possible, while some are like, no, it's fine. It's like to give a like a cultural understanding of this sort of thing, you know. But
Yeah.
it depends on
That
the translator.
Yeah. That plus, if this ever does get an English dub, I highly doubt they will use Senpai in the dub.
Yeah, no, they won't.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I'm one that can go either way. In the game, they never use any real like Japanese honorifics, so
Yeah, no,
I'm
and I mean I get that. It's just like like most games don't localize it that way either. It's just a thing like where in anime it's like so 50-50 with that sort of thing where you could at least like leave it in some cases, I feel.
Yeah, but like I was thinking, like Persona, for example, still uses the honorifics, and like
Yeah,
if they were
Persona
to
is like the
do,
only game I know that still uses like those honorifics.
yeah, and I'm like if they were to do, I haven't, I only watched the first episode, and it was a while ago of the Persona 5 anime, and I'm just like, I don't remember exactly, but I'm like if they got rid of the honorifics in that, I'd be a little
No,
angry.
like even Persona dubs of like their animations don't change the honorific things either.
Yeah, like that, I would want them to keep the honorifics just because that's so. I feel like that fits Persona so well.
Yeah, but I'm like a lot of people have played Persona, so they have to at least somewhat understand how these like honorific things are used.
Yeah. Um,
But anyways, that's just my little language gripe for this episode.
there's always
I
got to be
always seem to
one.
have one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, and
Um.
then we get a little scene of Yuzuki and Kariya walking down the street, and Kariya explains what he's noticed in Shibuya.
Yeah, and that it's become more of like the same
Yeah, it's
instead of
becoming
like
homogenous.
yeah, or
So
as he says, simple in Japanese. But whatever.
no, he says homogenous in the English version of the game, at least.
Well, I know, but I mean by like when he's speaking in the show, he says simple.
Yeah. Two language grapes.
Trust me, I could get on so many other language gripes. It's just I just leave some of it be.
Yeah. But yeah, so he explains like all like what used to be a bunch of different competing thoughts, all like clashing and coming together, are now becoming like a single focus. And he's afraid of that single point that everything is trending towards is going to be an
Mm-hmm.
ending.
Yeah.
Um, and it's interesting because in the game, he briefly mentions this to Nekun B and says like, I think right now the Yuji needs people like you. And then Yuzuki asks what he meant by that later, and that's when he gets the conversation of explaining.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, so in the game he like mentions like, yeah, right now the Yuji needs you people. He needs you to fight for it.
Yeah.
Um, Also, one thing that was in the game that was not in the show was a little more into the outlet pins and how they work. Um, Yuzuki says like, "Wow, these pins were good for nothing in that battle," and Kariya's like, "Yeah, the fake, the duds."
Well,
Uh,
like, what does he mean by that?
like the promised benefits of the outlet pins, the idea that it would makes them stronger.
Oh, it doesn't.
No, the fakes.
Oh, huh.
Um, in the show they don't mention that, but in the game he's like, yeah, the reason why these didn't make us more powerful is because they're duds. They don't do anything.
I see. But do
Um,
they still like have controlling powers in a way?
so all we hear is both of them getting like a headache, screaming, and then it cuts in the game, and we'll see a little bit more within the next few days. In the show, they go one step further. Konishi shows up. She didn't do that in the game, and actually, I know where they took this from in the game. They took a conversation that happened right when um, Shades tells her to use the outlet pins. He leaves, and she
Mm-hmm.
has this exact conversation of like, why would he and the composer want us to use these pins? I need hard facts in order to make my plan.
Mm-hmm.
She said that back in like day two, and here we are now, and she says this in front of Yuzuki and Kariya, who are screaming in pain on the ground.
Like, yeah. I mean, she also says some other stuff about like just basically using them.
Yeah. Um, yeah, that's one thing we forgot to talk about. The reason why Ryan was fake was Kariya and Yuzuki were being used just to buy her more time
Yeah.
to go
Also, there was
distract her.
when you mentioned the open thing, it was weird that I don't know if this was just like a show thing, but like they used the opens and all the people and cars stopped. in Shibuya Crossing.
That was just a show thing. I was going to talk about that more. This fight actually happened at Tower Records
Hmm.
in the game, but that was just a show thing. I liked it. It was cool, but
Yeah,
that was a show thing.
I see. Got it.
But yeah, Konishi didn't show up in the game, but she does here, and then we see Uzuki and Kariya with the red eyes.
Hmm.
Um, any predictions on what that means?
I just have to figure it's like some sort of controlling power or something. If you say like it doesn't actually enhance their strength,
Okay, yeah.
because like I mean, and it's like you can kind of see it in like the regular people as well. You know, like everything's kind of becoming similar. So like basically, the Reapers are falling in line with that as well.
Okay, so then the question would be why and who?
I feel like it's part of the composer's plan, but as to what that plan is, I'm not entirely sure.
You know, like why would he want that? Why would he want?
I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't like Shibuya as it is.
Okay. Um, and then we get a scene right towards the end. Um,
With Hanekoma finishing Minamimoto's taboo noise index thing.
Hanekoma was not there in the game.
That wasn't who was it in the game?
It was no one. It was literally just Minamimoto waking up and it's like, oh, that took longer than I thought. I'll have to get used to this new body, and he pieces
Mm,
out. That was the whole thing in the game. Was just like he shows up and it's like, oh, that was a longer time to resurrect than I thought. Oh, this body's kind of weird, but
yeah,
it'll do.
yeah. So instead we get Hanekoma putting in one last line because apparently Minamimoto didn't have it complete, which I mean they did state earlier. So
Did they say it wasn't complete, or did they state that it hadn't been used yet?
they stated that it was imperfect in the show.
I don't remember that. They're not wrong. It wasn't perfect, but
Yeah. So
okay.
basically Hanekoma completed it and thus Minamimoto basically revives in this noise type form. I guess you said
Yeah,
it was like a taboo form, they call
yeah.
it.
So
Um,
yeah, so spoilers, I guess technically, but he was in that form is in the noise index. Like they have like when you fight a noise, they put an index and it tells you like a little bit about them and what drops they have.
mhm.
And the me and the Mimoto in that index in that form has is called taboo.
Got it.
So yeah, that's his official. But yeah, he's back.
Yep. I did not expect that. I was quite shocked when I saw that he came back.
What shocked you
But
more, the fact that Hanekoma did it, or the fact that he's back at all?
well, what Hanekoma said was interesting as well. Just like this is the only thing that I can do to help out.
Yeah.
And then like and basically saying what happens after this, even I don't know.
So
And then Minamimoto revives with a scream.
why do you think Hanekoma did it?
I feel like potentially it may assist Neku and Beat in some form or fashion, but as to what extent, I'm not entirely sure.
I mean, Minamimoto was the one that killed Neku.
No, and I get that, but I feel like it's I don't know, it's like I said, I don't know to what extent, but I feel like it's going to help Neku and Beat in some way.
Okay. Yeah. Again, in the game, that was not what happened. It's like, why did they put him there? Why did they show us this? Um, I don't even want to say because there's something I want to say, but even in the most nondescript way of putting it, it still spoils something. And so I'm like, I can't even put it in the
I see.
broadest terms. Um,
Well, I guess
so
we'll have to wait till next week.
yeah. Um, Yeah, because I literally can't add anything without spoiling something. So
Yeah.
Hanekoma did
And
something, and Minamoto's back. Whoop de doo.
yeah, I'm not entirely sure what next episode's title is supposed to mean, but
The
I don't
countless
know. It
wrongs
just
of our day.
yeah,
No clue. No predictions
no
on what.
clue, no clue.
Okay. Um. So for people who have played the game, you probably have noticed that I have not made certain observations. Uh, so I'm going to quickly run down how the chain of events happened in the game. Day 3 is unrecognizable. Um, Day 4 is a
I mean,
little
from the sounds of it,
recognizable.
from the sounds of it, they cut like practically the main thing of day three in the game.
Yeah. So day 3, I'm just going to go through now. Day 3 starts, you're in Scramble Crossing, and you're going to Beat and Rhyme, well, not Beat and Rhyme, Beat and Neku are talking, and they're like, we need to go back. Beat is saying they need to go back to A East, and Neku's like, why? Like, we don't know that she was there for sure, but you just got a new key pin. Let's look where else she could be. Then Uzuki shows up and says, hey, I'm temporary game master for the day. I was given the rhyme pin. Beat my game, and I will return the pin to you. If you lose the game, I can't officially erase you, but I will destroy the pin. Um, then we get her telling them what the game is and Beat sneezing so they miss what the actual mission is. So all we hear is Reaper Sport 4, a chew, a chew, a chew. You have 60 minutes, fail and face, well, not fail and face erasure, but fail and the pin gets destroyed.
Hmm.
Uh, Neku doesn't know what Reaper Sport 4 is, and Beat says, Reaper Sport 4, that's Reaper Creeper. Reaper Creeper is introduced earlier in the game, but I haven't actually talked about it. It's Ouija board.
Mm-hmm.
It's essentially what it is. It's like a coin with like a yes, no, maybe, and a spirit is supposed to move the coin, and the players are the spirits moving the coins. Uh, so you're chasing this one guy down who is not introduced in the show at all, but who's um, Makoto's boss. Makoto we only see for like 5 seconds in the show. Um, Makoto's down his luck. The boss decides to use Reaper Creeper. You do it, and you realize, hey, that didn't actually do anything. Uh, and then we find out that Beat doesn't actually know what Reaper Sport 4 is. Uzuki shows up and says, if you guys go on one more side mission, I'm going to destroy this thing. We're supposed to be playing tag. Um, and in the one of the funniest ways of showing this ever, it was not doing a cutscene, it was just with the sprites. Yuzuki tells them that they're supposed to be playing tag and is complaining that they're just running around doing whatever. And so they just move Neku's sprite to overlap with Yuzuki's sprite and then move him back and
Hmm.
said, tag, you're it. Then you fight Yuzuki by yourself. Kariya shows up and says, you're licked. It's my turn. And then we get day 4. Day 4, you wake up in Mia Sheet of Perk, but you're trapped. You have no key pins, and there's walls on both sides, and there's a box, and a couple pieces of papers. And so you have to like do what the piece of paper says, like defeat the specific noise on the paper to open the box. The box has a key pin. That's also when we see Beat explaining how he died because they find the flowers and Coke can.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to Tower Records and fight Kariya there. And then I thought Dave, because it's been 2 years since I played this game, so I forgot exactly how this week goes. I thought day 5 was Uzuki and Kariya teaming up and fighting and giving you a mission. No, they just fight you on the spot day 4 together after you beat Kariya by himself.
I see.
That's my rundown of the game. Any questions?
No, just yeah. I mean, they just changed a few things.
Yeah, it's like almost all the conversations verbatim were pretty much how they were in the game. It was just
Hmm.
the situations and the scenarios they were in that's like unrecognizable to the game.
Yeah.
Um, that's why I'm like, let's just go through the episode because there's no point in me trying to explain all that as we go.
Yeah. Like there wasn't all too much.
Yeah, like I understand why they cut Reaper Creeper. I'm fine with that. Honestly, it was a dumb thing. I understand why they cut the box puzzle because that works better for a game, and also the box puzzle is just annoying.
Hmm.
I didn't enjoy the box puzzle the first time. I did not enjoy it the 100th time either.
It's like sliding ice puzzles. Who likes those?
No, it wasn't even that. It was literally just like there were 3 noise lined up. Defeat the middle noise. Okay,
Mm.
now there's 4 noise lined up. Defeat the middle 2 noise. Now here's like 20 noise on the screen. You have to only defeat all of this specific symbol of noise.
Yeah, it just sounds very specific.
Yeah, it's like it's not hard. It's just very tedious. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm glad they cut that. I'm like, that didn't need to be back.
Yeah. But anyways, I think that's about it for this episode.
Yeah, I don't got much else. I pretty much asked you all of the prediction questions.
Yep.
I mean, obviously, I understand a little bit of where this is going, but with how much the show has changed and like what they showed in this episode and just building up to this finale, I don't know where this is going and what they will and won't show at this point.
Yeah.
What they'll add, what they'll change. So I'm especially now as we get towards the end, just kind of along for the ride and like, what is this actually going to look like?
Yep. I mean, we have, what is it? Like,
3 more episodes, I believe.
yep. I think 3 more episodes.
Um, so my prediction was slightly wrong because again, I actually forgot what day 5 was. Um, so my guess is 2 days next episode, days 5 and
Hmm.
6. Day
And
7
then
will
day
be a two
seven
parter.
for, yeah, for the final day. Or not the final day, but the final 2 episodes.
Yeah. My prediction. That said, it could be day 7, new day.
Yeah. I mean, they could always do that as well if they wanted to.
Yeah. So I don't know. If I had to guess, I think they want to stick to the main game. I think it'll be day 7, 2 episode special, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah. We'll see.
Um, Good episode though. Good episode.
Yeah.
Uh, Anyways, I
Yep.
guess that's it. You can
Yep.
find a playlist to other episodes if you missed them. You can also comment, give us any feedback, but we'll see you later.
Yep. Thanks for watching.
Bye.